Avast there, foolish mortals. Are you seeking adventure and salty old pirates? You've come to the proper place, so hold on tight and heed this warning. The spirits will materialize only if you remain quietly seated at all times. There be squalls ahead, and Davy Jones waiting for those who don't obey. Our tour begins here in this gallery, where you'll discover some unsettling illustrations. Our residents call them changing portraits. Paintings like the Black Prince and the grotesque Gorgon Medusa. After a lewd incident involving Poseidon, the Greek god of seas and storms, the maiden was cursed with a hideous appearance, snakes in place of her hair, and an eerie gaze that could turn men to stone. Your cadaverous pallor betrays an aura of foreboding, almost as though you sense a disquieting metamorphosis. Another painting beckons your attention. A three-mast vessel traverses the sea, but keep a weather eye because in a flash of lightning, the ship transforms into a ghostly gondola with tattered sails, navigating a harsh maelstrom.
Oh, what doth that vessel of darkness bear? The silent calm of the grave is there, save now and again a death knell rung, and the flap of the sails with night fog hung.
The legend of the Flying Dutchman dates all the way back to the 17th century. Only ghost stories, of course. One of the earliest tales describes a staunch seaman known as Captain Hendrick van der Decken. The captain and his crew would sail from Holland to the Far East Indies in a ship called the Dutchman. On the return voyage, the vessel carried precious cargo like spices and silks, but the ocean was rough and unforgiving. As the Dutchman sailed around the Cape of Good Hope in the southern part of the African continent, the weather changed and the waters grew rough. The winds worked against the vessel and the crew feared they'd be capsized. They urged the captain to turn back, but he refused. As madness took over, he ordered his crew to press on. The winds tore the sails and water poured onto the hull as the mariner cursed the heavens.
May I be eternally damned if I do, though I should beat about here to the day of judgment.
The crew tried to mutiny, but the captain killed their leader and threw him to the harsh waters below. After that, an ominous voice spoke. The Dutchman had condemned the captain for his nefarious deeds. He'd be tasked to sail for all eternity with a ghostly crew, bringing death to anyone who caught sight of the haunted vessel, cursed to never again make port. In another tale, the Dutch sailor Bernard Fokke had developed a reputation for the haste of his travel. According to legend, on one particular occasion, he managed a trip that would normally take 3 months in only 10 days. This caused many people to believe that Fokke had made a pact with a supernatural force like the devil. However, during an ethereal tempest, the ship came upon some rocks. The captain and his crew would not survive the storm, and because of the deal he had made with the devil, they were all damned to roam the seas forever in a vessel known as the Flying Dutchman. By the 18th century, the story of this spectral ship was pretty well known. Sailors would even report sightings of the Flying Dutchman, at least those who lived to tell the tale.
Dead men tell, now tale.
As legends persist into the 20th century, there were some brave, or perhaps foolish enough, to explore this cursed narrative. Uncle Scrooge and his nephews would encounter the Flying Dutchman thanks to a legendary storyteller known as Carl Barks. Scrooge discovers some musty old shipping records inside of a trunk. While reading, he comes across a frightening story about a mysterious Dutch vessel.
The Fliegender Hollander was seen in full sail many times in the years that followed, in the water south of the Cape of Good Hope. Always it was seen on stormy nights, its sails blood red, in sailing against the wind.
Scrooge and his nephews set sail in turbulent waters in search of the mysterious ship. Along the way, it occurs to Huey that the word Hollander translates to Dutchman. As the feathered crew makes their way starboard, they discovered an enigmatic vessel drifting across the air. Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean tells a different version of the Dutchman tale. The sea goddess Calypso tasks a sailor known as Davy Jones with ferrying the souls of those who die at sea into the afterlife in his ship, the Flying Dutchman. In return, Jones may return to port once every 10 years to embrace his beloved Calypso. After 10 long years ferrying souls, Davy Jones returns, but the sea goddess was not there to meet her lover. This would result in Jones removing his heart and abandoning his sacred contract.
You feel this?
Now, the Flying Dutchman would roam the seas searching for souls to harvest, preying on dying sailors. Rather than eternal damnation, a man could serve 100 years as part of Davy Jones' crew.
Join my crew and postpone the judgment.
There are artifacts relating to the Flying Dutchman at Disney theme parks as well. You'll discover items in the Columbia Harbor House, and directly across from that restaurant, you can experience our ghostly retreat. A portrait of the Dutchman was planned for the Haunted Mansion dating all the way back to the 1960s. Imagineer Mark Davis first envisioned a changing portrait that would see the Phantom Ferry sail closer and closer to the viewer. Another concept for the painting would see the vessel transform into the ghost ship of legend. A flash of lightning would awaken the haunting crew of the Dutchman.
Look at the ship in that picture.
The lightning would remain in the final version of the Flying Dutchman you'll experience today. As your dune buggy floats down the corridor, a bolt of light will illuminate the painting and reveal the haunting reality of the ghostly vessel. Now, before any of you foolish mortals find yourself getting seasick, we should end our tour here. But should anyone like to join our cadaverous crew, final arrangements can be made at the end of the tour. While we already have 999 happy haunts, there's room for 1,000. Any volunteers? Oh, and I almost forgot. Our residents have a few questions they'd like to ask. Are you familiar with the legend of the Flying Dutchman? And which version of the tale is your favorite? Let us know in the comments section below. And why not take a moment to watch one of these other films highlighting the residents of the Haunted Mansion?